Hey, it is week 7 of me posting something that I'm learning every single week in 2020. Um, I've been reading this book called Double Blessing by Mark Batterson. And it's been a really great book. I always get a lot out of the books that he writes. He's one of my favorite authors. And in this book, there's just been a part I just read that just talks about the story of J.C. Penney. You may have heard of him. His name's James Cash Penney, and he started a few department stores. Anyhow, he was born in the late 1800s, and then the early 1900s, he got part ownership in his first store. And at the time, it was called the Golden Rule Store. He ended up getting a few more stores, and then and as they kept growing, they ended up renaming it to J.C. Penney. But they never lost the principle. He always wanted to build upon the Golden Rule and have a generous mindset and think about other people rather than just themselves. And so because of that, there's some things early on they did. They used to not take any sort of credit because they didn't want people to get indebted to them shopping at their store. They also, marked themselves by saying they had reasonable pricing. They always wanted to be accessible to people. He made it so his associates could also benefit from the profits. And so he attributes a lot of the success that they had to the fact that when the store did well, they did well as well. That's a lot of wells. Anyhow, I just thought it was a really cool story about someone who's being generous, and that's what this book's really been about, is just being a blessing to other people. But he was very generous, and I believe and I know that God blesses those who are a blessing to others. But I also think that people like that as well, and so it was easy for his associates and people to want to spur them on when the company's being generous and caring for other people. And he had his share of hardships and challenges, even struggling with depression, and I think he went to hospital for that at one point. He almost went bankrupt. He struggled with his faith just like many people do. Another thing that was kind of interesting to me, his dad was a pastor, and his dad was actually fired, and it sounds like his dad was fired because his dad wanted to start a Sunday school class. So that just shows you how things change and how Sunday school classes weren't always a thing. And Sunday school classes were originally started for people to actually get an education. It wasn't just for learning about the Bible. But anyhow, that's something I'm learning this week. If you learned anything interesting, I'd love to hear it. See ya.